I felt that people often promised me that if I got a STEM degree, I would at least be able to live on my own, or at least have the income to do so. But that just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. We're in this new normal where everything that was hyped to give you a stable job, like becoming a programmer, just isn't viable anymore, especially with shit that popped out of nowhere like AI. And without any career opportunities, most of us are going to end up in these low skill, low paid jobs that don't go anywhere. And guess who's in that situation? Ooh, that's right, me. So I went to my first day of McWage slaving. And if you don't know what McWage slaving is, they're basically dead end jobs that pay nearly nothing and don't go anywhere. And prior to the orientation, I think I came about 30 minutes before I was supposed to be there. And the first thing that I noticed were these random people that were sitting on the pavement next to the entrance door. They looked like a bunch of bums. And I swear, like half of them looked borderline homeless. Like they looked like those guys that carry around those signs asking for money on the corners of streets, right? Like, to be fair, you'd probably make a lot more money panhandling than working at a fast food place for minimum wage part-time. Anyways, there was a corporate trainer that came into the store since this was a franchise. They had the typical corporate propaganda where they have this sort of founding mythos of how the company was created and how the founder was this great person. I didn't really care. And they sort of talked about how we should provide world-class customer service, which is kind of funny because they expect 5-star service, yet they offer a 1-star wage. Like, they described themselves as a tier above McDonald's, where they wouldn't just hand the customer the tray and walk off. But the funny thing is the McDonald's across the street seems to pay a lot more than this store offered. Right? So I have no idea why some of the people there seem to take this job seriously. Since, like, you look around you and you just see two different realities. You see what the propagandists, the corporate people tell you, and you see a completely different reality when you just look at the other workers that have been there for a while. Since the quote-unquote senior level people at these restaurants never seem to make more than the newbies and don't seem to get that far promotion-wise, so those two things should tell you something. Yet I remember the guy to the right of me acting like an excited child. Like, he seemed to be excited for this minimum wage role. Wow, such a great opportunity. Like, I asked him about his previous employment, and he told me that all he did was gig jobs, right? Whether it was Grubhub or Uber. I guess for someone in his position, it may seem like an upgrade if business is no good or something. You know, all he had to do was think a little critically. Obviously, no one seemed to be promoted so far, and this is a franchise based off of what I heard from the people working there, the managers and the corporate people. So that kind of indicates that you're not going to get a corporate job from these individual stores because they're not owned by the corporation itself that owns the brand. So you're not going to go anywhere. The best you can hope for is becoming a general manager, and that's just not going to happen. People just don't connect the dots. Like, I see a lot of people nodding their heads emptily and telling me that, oh, I'm going to build my career here, I'm going to try to get my promotions and stack my bread, bro. And you know, it just seems that people have to be a certain kind of stupid to have that corporate smile on their face while they're working and providing world-class customer service. And going back to the whole story, the training they quote-unquote provided just seemed incredibly insulting, right? They made us do stupid little dances. They made us memorize these little songs. Like, they made us do these little quizzes like we were in middle school. And they asked us to study these menus at home. And I'm not going to be spending a second of my time to provide free labor for a minimum wage job. It's just not worth it. And their quote-unquote incentives for bowing the knee just aren't worth it either. They don't give you money. Hell, they don't even give you the $10 gift cards that you can buy next to nothing. They give these stupid little prizes like packs of M&Ms and other worthless products that they stop by the dollar store to get. You know, they told us that they would do these team building dances every morning. I mean, I think it's incredibly stupid. It's like those Walmart jiggles that just make people even more depressed to be wearing that pathetic blue vest that marks you as a subhuman. I mean, I don't want to sound racist or anything, but there seem to just be two groups of people, right? There were the Hispanics and the black people, and I was the only Asian guy. Hell, there were no white people to be seen at the lowest rung present at this store. And that just seems to be how these low-end minimum wage jobs seem to operate. Like, those are the people that usually don't have the means to do anything better. And, like, most Asians let their kids stay at home, and, my dad is an exception, unfortunately. And he wants to kick me out in about a year. Like, he told me I had to find an apartment or someone to live with. And, at this point, I don't have any friends that are willing to room with me or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't even be able to find roommates if my life depended on it. So, I feel like I'm kind of fucked. Like, I don't really have a viable career. The job market's shit. So, I don't really have that many options at the moment. And that is why I'm taking this minimum wage job. So, I could have a few months' rent, just to make sure that if I do get kicked out, I don't have to live in my car or anything. The only white people there were people like the HR person, the person in charge of payroll for the store. I mean, now that I think about it, it's kind of insulting, right? Because remember that other video I made, I talked about the kid that did a useless psychology degree and did 0 internship and had 0 work experience. And, all he did was party. So it's so fucking unfair. It's like his parents just found him a job as an accounts payable manager. And, I'm here proceeding to see someone in basically the same role looking down at me. While I'm just there being a crew member, a crew loser at the stupid chicken store. And I did all this clown maxing, doing all this internship crap and getting the computer science degree as a backup. Like, all of this crap, it was all for naught. Like, it just seems... It seems like a cruel joke, to be honest. And I look at myself, and I wonder, how did someone who's as educated as I am end up in this situation, And I didn't even bother sitting next to them. I decided to go across the street to the supermarket and sit in their little dining area and twiddled my thumbs for the next 30 minutes. I didn't want to sit next to them before the shift began because, I'm ashamed of being in this situation. But I could put myself in their shoes to some extent. Like, if I've been working these minimum wage jobs for years, I would probably have the attitude of, I don't care what people think because I already know I ain't shit. And I would be just like them. I would stare at the floor all day and pretty much do things that just make you look poor, right? Like sitting on the pavement. And I just wouldn't care because I would be so used to the minimum wage lifestyle, the pathetic lifestyle. And there's this YouTube channel that I watch all the time. He talks about the dystopian minimum wage workforce experience. And one thing that always comes up on his channel is the fact that a lot of these minimum wage proles, as he says, always say something along the lines of, oh, you think you're better than us because you have an education and that I get paid the same or more than you, right? And he would often reply by saying, yes, I am better than you. And I never knew the meaning of what he meant until I ended up in the same situation he did. And, if you come from an educated environment, like a university or a place where educated people work, and then proceeding to enter these minimum wage environments, you realize how stupid people can be in our society. Like, in our minimum wage chat room for the sandwich shop, the first thing that I noticed was the fact that people were misspelling a lot of the words that they use. Like, for example, they would use the Halloween witch instead of the other witch when they were trying to use a ladder. And a lot of these people don't have basic common sense. Like, the staff there asked for IDs, and this retard asked if their school ID and their socials were good enough. Like, are you stupid? Like, you don't go to the local bank and open up an account with your TikTok handle. Like, that's stupid. Like, these are the caliber of people I'm going to be working with. So I would say the exact same thing if I was in the shoes of that author of that video, right? I am better than these proles, as he says. This kind of dovetails into another talking point. There are minimum wage jobs or dead-end jobs with dead-end people working in them, which means that they're not really people that are worth interacting with. Like, they're incredibly simple people. They don't really have much to say that is unique in any way, and they don't get you anywhere. Like, what kind of connections does a dead-end person have to offer? They might be able to give you a reference to the Taco Bell across the street, but what good does that do you? You see my point? And this is why a lot of these people are stuck in these poverty traps. There are no connections to be had, and you're just surrounded by idiots. I'm not saying that everyone's an idiot at these places. I'm just saying that there seems to be a selection bias for stupid people, whether it's due to malnutrition or a lack of an education or whatever the case may be. And that's sort of a background to my situation right now. Like I'm an educated person. I have a robust resume and a lot of skills to offer, yet I'm stuck in a minimum wage. And if I were to live on my own, I wouldn't be able to afford anything. This means no housing, not eating every day. And like if my parents kick me out, I'm probably going to end up either on the streets, living in my car, or living with 10 other roommates if I'm lucky. And you know what that means? 'Cause, guess who has 0 friends and can't get a roommate to save my life? Guess who it is? I'm pointing a finger at myself right now. And for someone as short as I am, being 5'3" and all, this just isn't good news because every time I had roommates, I would always get bullied in some way. I talked about this a lot in my previous videos, but this was just something that occurred on a daily basis. Like back in my first year of college, we had this suite slash floor arrangement where everyone in the floor would occasionally meet up. And there was this South Asian kid who was tall but overweight. And there was this one time where we were sitting on tables. And I was the only person there that had to climb them just to get on top of that surface, right? And when I was sitting down, my legs were dangling while everyone else's were planted on the floor. And this kid would tell me and tell everyone in the room, oh, he has a little problem. And every one of these situations point to the fact that people just don't respect short people. Like they will make jokes right in front of people's faces because they don't fear them. Like what is a little guy like me going to do if a tall guy makes fun of me? Absolutely nothing. These jokes are completely unnecessary. Like not that many people laughed at it, but like tall people always find a reason to like put us down, like, oh, you're the little guy, oh, hi little bro, like blah blah blah. It's like normies or tall guys always have to find an excuse to make fun of manlets or put us down in some way. It's so infuriating, and I had so many instances of this happening, whether it's verbal or non-verbal. And you really have to be a short guy to understand how shitty these situations are, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no grow pill, there's no like LL is beyond the reach of me as a minimum wage worker. And this is why I have a hard time with roommates, right? Unless they're all on my level. Like that kid that was 5'5" in Hapa during my sophomore year of college. And, with my parents wanting to kick me out and everything, I feel like my only option is to find roommates. And this will be how I will be living the rest of my life or the foreseeable future, because I'm never going to be in a situation where I can afford to own my own home or even rent my own place because of the job market. And this could be said about the distant future as well, because my dad told me that he's literally going to donate everything to charity, including the house that I'm living in. So what choices do I have? Like the only options I have are to work at these fast food places, since they're the only places that seem to be replying to my applications. And these are public facing, demeaning roles where you will be wearing a uniform and you will be kind of the punching bag for both the customers and management. And that's kind of the reason why I avoid these positions. They're extremely demeaning and mentally taxing. And like I can find higher skill, like mid-tier jobs doing admin work. It's a step above minimum wage, but it's still kind of eh. And these aren't really jobs that call me back very often. Like I might get one admin related job per year, and these contracts end up being like 4 months max, so I usually don't get anywhere with them. But like that's kind of my situation. Like I really don't have that many options. And with how the job market seems, like I don't think I will be able to afford anything but maybe a one-room apartment with 5 other people if I'm lucky. But 9 times out of 10, if I have strangers, like people that I don't know that I'm rooming with, they usually bully me or ostracize me in some way. That's always been the case. And I thought I did everything right. Like I did the STEM shit like everyone told me to do. And I have a wide array of internships. Like I have a lot of experience under my belt, and I can't get anything. Like I literally see other people having no experience or a laundry list of pole work, aka warehouse, restaurant, or like these crappy jobs, these McJobs. and they end up having someone they know or some family intervention which allows them to get these full-time careers. And my dad's like, ooh, have you tried applying? Ooh, just apply, bro. Ooh. But at this point, things like AI just popped out of nowhere and wiped out the millions of coding jobs that used to exist. And there just isn't that avenue between being unemployed and new to the job market to becoming a senior software developer. Like, that career path doesn't exist anymore. So, there are so many people like me who get STEM degrees or like any kind of degree, and all that's waiting for them out there are these McLoser jobs that go nowhere. Bro, I get a lot of these comments telling me, ooh, just get a truck license, oh, just get your CDL, oh, you could make bank. But look, there are companies literally making self-driving trucks as we are speaking right now, and they're going to replace your jobs in a heartbeat. Like, it happened with junior level software development, so I don't see how it can't replace truck driving as well. Like, even if you go back 5 years, the same people would be telling you, oh, just learn how to code, you'll make bank, bro. And what do you know? AI came out of left field, like no one saw it coming, and it replaced most junior level software dev jobs. Like, those jobs just don't exist. That industry has been decimated. And you know what? You have these people saying that, oh, you should get a trade, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But like, once you get the certification, like, you're still competing with other people for the apprenticeships, and these still are overhyped industries, just like becoming a coder, So I just feel like we're going full circle here. So, even if you do get this cert, you'll probably end up going into the low-skill, low-wage labor force, where their only option is to become a McLoser or a wall loser, where they look around and don't see anything there for them. There are no skills to be gained. The wages are crap. The hours are crap. They're literally just sucking away your youth. So what's the point of being there? And that's the situation I'm stuck in. I did my 4 years, actually 5 years of getting 2 degrees, and what do I have to show for it? I'm just rotting in this minimum wage shithole, saying like, oh, would you like fries with that? Ooh, do you wanna give a tip? Ooh, 1 cent. Ooh, so much. Ooh. And I keep asking my parents, just, can you get me something? Can you help me in some way? And they're like, oh, just apply. Oh, just apply. Even at these minimum wage jobs, like, people keep making fun of you, especially if you're a fucking turbo manlet. Like, my manager is younger than me, taller than me, and is in fucking high school, and I have like fucking 5 years over him in college education, and I can't believe I'm this educated. I'm in such a demeaning situation. Like, this wasn't exactly the plan. Like, I went to school for 5 years, and my ultimate goal wasn't to flip fucking burgers, especially after getting a STEM degree. Like, this isn't what I worked 5 years to get to. Like, I did my meme degree in order to get my quote-unquote dream job, and I did my STEM degree to be sort of a backup, but both seem to have failed. Like, none of those 2 options worked out. And one of the worst things about my new job, quote-unquote, where I work is right next to a high school, so you get a bunch of fucking 16-year-olds that are like a foot taller than you. Like, they're like 6'1", while I'm just here being 5'3", waddling around with my short little legs, Like, it's I fucking hate being in this situation, man, and there's no escape. And if they don't have parents that are fucking giga boomers that love to see their kids suffer, like mine, like, they would just stay at home and not work, right? That's why you have these 10 million open jobs that are out there. No one wants to take these jobs at the McDonald's or the Taco Bell. Like, as I said before, they're demeaning. You get a lot of abuse from the customers. You get a lot of abuse from management, all while wearing a pathetic uniform and cleaning the toilet every morning. Like, instead of paying people a living wage to incentivize them to take these 10 million open jobs, they just import a bunch of foreigners. Most of the people there were immigrants. Like, even in the chat room that they invited me to, half the people there had Hispanic-sounding names, like Mick Sanchez, El Gordo, Mick El Lardo. You have fucking names like Shashiqua, Fado, McBlabo, McCheek, Explosive, Booger, Explosion, But the point I'm making is that even the kids in high school don't want to work at these places. Like, that's how bad the conditions are. Like, there were some high schoolers, but like, I kind of expected more because this was a quote-unquote high school job, but that just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And, I would do the same thing. I'd rather make my money doing TikToks and all this stupid stuff to scam money out of other kids. And, that's probably why there weren't any attractive people at this restaurant, because they're too busy raking it in from all the suckers, while all the ugly guys are left to slave their life away and be Ronald McDonald's McSlave or Walmart's Wall Slave or whatever slave job they're going, whatever plantation they're going to. And, there are the rich boomers where, they're the kids just stay at home right after college. But if you're one of these migrants, like you don't have a choice, right? You don't have rich boomer rich boomer parents to move in with. So your only option is to slave away at the McPlantation to earn a meager wage in order to barely afford shelter or food and just eventually end up homeless. I'm going to be pushed into that situation because I have boomer parents that fucking hate their kids. Like, that's the weird thing. My dad is a boomer, but he's Asian, so it doesn't make any sense because, like, if you think of a boomer, you think of some white guy who thinks that it's all about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But it just seems that with my dad, he wants to take like the most convenient segments of Asian culture, like respecting your elders, but they also want to have that luxury of just kicking out their kids whenever it's convenient. Like, it's just the worst of both worlds for me, best of both worlds for them. Going back to the whole high school kid thing, like, even Gen Z, like, later Gen Z people that graduated college, even if they realize that earning money online isn't a viable option, they still would rather live at home with their parents and not work than be forced to work at the McDonald's, because these are horrible jobs. Like, they're not worth the money. They're straight up just stealing your labor. Especially with inflation and how little they pay you. The only raises you will ever get in these places is if the minimum wage increases. But the thing about Gen Z is, or more specifically recent grads that earned a bachelor's degree, is that, like, the people that I went to school with that got a job straight out of college, whether they got it through a connection or they were some kind of genius, they got their jobs and headed off to wherever they were going to work. And the rest of us who didn't get anything, due to the fact that they didn't have any connections, ended up going back home, right? And most of these people that I know, their parents are willing to support them after they're done with their school, right? And the thing is, they look in the job market and see absolutely nothing. They go out there, look on it Indeed, and the only things that they see are the McDonald's, the Taco Bell, the local gas station, the grocery store, and they're like, oh, I'll just do this temporarily. They take one of these jobs, they look around, they hate what they see, and then they leave. And, some of them might even try. They might try to get these admin jobs to maybe move up in the corporate world, but they just end up being these temp jobs that pay minimum wage, and those jobs are hard to get despite the lack of upward mobility. Like, there's no such thing as moving up in the corporate world if you're at the bottom. And next thing you know, they're just hanging out at their parents' house, not working at all, because, like, it's just not worth it. What do you get out of a job at the grocery store? What cleaning skills, how to clean the toilet well, like, those skills won't get you anywhere. And, I get why people my age don't want to work anymore. You have all these boomers saying, oh, no one wants to work anymore. Ooh. But there's a reason for that. The jobs pay shit, and there's no such thing as social mobility. Like, there's no such thing as a promotion at the local Pizza Hut or upscaling at the McDonald's. Like, these are dead-end jobs through and through. Yet I have these sadistic-ass boomer parents who think that they could just kick me out and I'll be fine, right? And they'll just wonder why I'm flopping like a fish in the job market. Like, they don't give a shit. And I'm kind of switching the subject, but I just don't like where this BP space is going, right? Like, I see a ton of these. It's not like sub-5s aren't making videos. Like, I see a ton of these small channels under 500 subscribers that are run by short South Asian guys. It's not like their videos are bad or anything, but I just noticed that in recent years, these tall white guys seem to be popping off, right? Like Wheat Waffles or DVDR. There was someone in the comments saying that I was copying him or something. But the thing is, I've been in this space for longer than he has ever been in this community, right? Like, I literally started back in 2017 as a regular guest on Face Nelmis's channel, and I've been doing the same thing ever since. It's like one of those kids that play Fortnite And when something like Spider-Man, like they do some kind of collab where they have Spider-Man in the game, they just accuse Marvel of knocking off like Fortnite. It's stupid. That fake cell maxing who's 6'3" and talked about how the high inhib pill is the most brutal pill. And that's not even the worst part of it. He got some Asian woman to be attracted to him, right? He's tall and white, so of course fucking traders are going to do this WMAF garbage. Like I see all over the place. Like every time I go outside, it's always a WMAF couple, and this fucker just takes advantage of it and brags about it. Oh no no no, high end hit pill. Oh, I'm a true cell. Oh, I'm a true cell. Oh, you're the fake cell. The short midget's a fake cell. Oh, fuck off. Like try being 5'3" and Asian. You would act the exact same way Zoomers are in the job market. You'll come a 5'3" Asian guy, look around, not like what you see, and then voluntarily exit your life, you know? Try saying the high inhib pill is the most brutal pill after seeing Asian women reject you and only go for white guys and being fucking midget, you know? Try saying that after all those experiences. Like you'll fucking shut up. Like it just seems that lookism plays the largest role in this community, where the best looking people succeed and the ugly guys are just left to rot and eat shit, you know? Despite this whole narrative of like how we should be pro sub 5, but things just never turn out that way.